Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Carcassonne. So, where were we? We had done Traders and Builders as far as the main game expansion, so we need to look at Princess and Dragon. And then you have a Winter Edition, and within the Winter Edition comes, I guess, a second expansion that's not even mentioned here with the Gingerbread Man. Either that or the Gingerbread Man is not too different from the Abbot, where it's just a piece that you can add and it adds rules. So Princess and the Dragon. Magic has appeared in the land and the dragon is roaming the skies, summoning the fairy to protect your meeple and boost your score, using a portal to claim regions previously out of reach, and call on the princess's authority to recall meeples from cities. Okay. Kind of up until this point there has been no magic, but there really is no need for there to be no magic. Carcassonne just being a tile-based game, while I think would benefit from having some backstory, also can just be left ambiguous for people's own individual headcanon. But since this is probably for younger players, because you may have noticed there's really no text on the tiles at all. So as long as one person can read the rules and explain the rules verbally to younger players can play Carcassonne very easily. Okay, the detailed instructions. The world of Carcassonne, or Carcassonne, grows with addition of the Princess and the Dragon expansion. Step into the world where magic offers you new ways to score points and manage your meeples. The new tiles add more strategy plus a touch of luck. I can't help but suspect that every time they make a new plastic meeple device, they have made it in such a way that it might work with the outline of the other meeples. So it uses the very smallest amount of waste material. That, since these are probably plastic anyways, they can just remelt and reuse. But that may not be the case, and it may not really even matter. But I do suspect the meeples cost like 1/100th of a penny to make. The dragon is roaming. A dragon is roaming the land. Keep an eye out because it's pretty hungry. What is going to determine how the dragon roams, I have no idea. The fairy. This is supposed to be the fairy. It looks nothing like a fairy, and it feels like you could fairly easily have something that was a little bit more like a butterfly that had wings as far as a fairy is concerned. Now, in old tales of the fae and the fairy, not every fairy looks like Tinkerbell for sure, but this doesn't look like anything. A fairy is flying about, offering protection to whoever takes the time to call her. Rules. There are two new meeples introduced in this expansion, the dragon and the fairy. The dragon is a neutral meeple that each player can indirectly control and is thus not present in their stack. The fairy is a common meeple that is shared between all players and is thus present in their stack. So if you can use the fairy, you should probably use the fairy. The dragon appears when the volcano tile is added to the board. So you got a new volcano tile. You place this tile normally, but cannot put a meeple on it. The dragon meeple will fly to the volcano at the end of the player's turn. The dragon moves when a tile bearing a dragon crest is drawn. The players move the dragon one after another up to a maximum of 6 moves. The dragon will eat any meeple located on its current tile and prevents players from adding new meeples to it. So every time somebody plays this, everybody moves. Every player moves the dragon once. And since you are only allowed 6 players, it'd be kind of crazy to play with more. It can move up to 6 moves. That's what I'm guessing they mean by that instruction. The fairy meeple can be played during the meeple phase of a player's turn instead of placing a meeple, or playing a meeple. It should say placing, really. When playing the fairy, the player will assign it to any of their meeples, thus protecting that meeple and that tile from the dragon. The fairy will earn 1 point for a player who starts their turn with the fairy still assigned to their meeple. You do not earn this extra point when playing a double turn in Traders and Builders expansion, which almost seems like you should. The fairy will earn a player an extra 3 points when the feature the fairy assigned when the feature the fairy's assigned meeple stands on is scored, regardless of whether you own the feature or not. So it seems like another way to potentially gain points by finishing off someone else's feature, whether that's a road or a city or a monastery or whatever. The princess icon is now present on some cities. Like, these tiles are getting very, very busy with icons if you play a lot of these expansions, but probably not that busy because, well, a digital version of this game would take all the base tiles and then randomly assign icons on top of them as just like Photoshop layers on the image. But since this is based on a real world physical game, one expansion would only give you so many new tiles that have the princess feature, but they won't then have like the Traders and Inns stickers and pictures on that. Let's see. Princess icon is now present on some city tiles. These tiles are played normally, but during your meeple phase, you can either place a meeple normally or remove one meeple from the city this tile expands, either yours or another player's. So I don't know why you would remove a meeple from a city that you own, but it would make a lot of sense to remove someone else's. Of course, removing, I assume, means you hand the player back the meeple that you're removing. So if you're the red player and you remove a black player's meeple, I assume you give the black player back their meeple, and you're not just holding on to it so they can't play it in the future. Let's see. I guess this is the magic symbol. Some tiles now bear a magic portal. When you play these tiles normally, but during your meeple phase, you can place your meeple normally or place it on any incomplete or unclaimed feature on the whole board, which that sounds like that is really, really powerful. Magic portals cannot be used by meeples that require the presence of another meeple, that is, the builder, the pig, in the Traders and Builders expansion. Let's play the tutorial then. Welcome to the Princess and Dragons tutorial. This tutorial will explain the new features included in this expansion. As you can see, we set up the boards to speed things up. We'll start by placing a tile in order to play the fairy meeple. Place that. Now you've placed the tile, let me introduce you to the fairy. The fairy is a neutral meeple that is shared between all players. The fairy appears in your meeple panel, but as you can see, it's not the same color as your other meeples. This is because the fairy is shared between all players, which arguably I think means that the abbot might be a neutral color too, because no, even though the abbot is shown as white in its image and its little icon in the digital version of the game, the actual color of the abbot when you're playing is the color of your team. Let's start by selecting the fairy. The fairy is placed by assigned to one of your meeples as a fairy godmother. Let's assign it to your meeple, which, since I have only one option, I assume that's what we're doing. And I guess they're putting it floating over your other guy, but clearly in the real world this would not snap on top of it or balance on top of it. And this once again highlights how the camera angle they've chosen here is very weird. The fairy, I guess, is the idea that it's floating. But in reality, it would just be sitting on the tile like everything else. The fairy will earn you 1 point at the start of the next turn, but only if it's still assigned to your meeple. The fairy has other uses, and we'll go through them as the game progresses. As you can see, the fairy earns you 1 point since it's still assigned to your meeple at the start of the turn, which seems weird because it seems like there would have been plenty of opportunities for them to move the meeple, unless there's something that has to happen, like the dragon hitting this tile before you get the fairy back. Let's grab this city for now. Putting a meeple there, might as well. Seems like they are having us play extra for kind of no reason. So why did it let him move the meeple before this time, but not before? Seems like they just intentionally didn't move the meeple to make a point, which that's not particularly great for a tutorial. There should have been a very specific reason why he couldn't have used the meeple. Like, this guy chose not to place any meeples, and thus he couldn't move it, or this guy has placed his first meeple, and thus he couldn't use the fairy, or this guy put him on a field, and you can't use the fairy on the field, which I don't know that that is true. But there easily could have been a sentence to explain why he couldn't have used the fairy in the last turn. The second advantage to the fairy is that the owner of a fairy will score 3 bonus points when the feature the fairy is resting on is scored. Let's close our city. Now let's assign the fairy to the meeple on top. This will land us an extra 3 points. 3 points plus 6 points, and it leaves the fairy there. On top of the 6 points the city yielded, you earned an extra 3 points because the fairy is assigned to the meeple within that feature. Keep in mind that the player who owns the fairy need not be the player who closes the feature to earn 3 points. You could earn 3 points when an opponent closes the city if you have a meeple, when an assigned fairy with an assigned fairy in the city. Okay, so that's a little confusing because that would mean, like, in this city or this city, you would have to have still 1 red meeple and a fairy on it, but he could potentially have 2 meeples and close the city and win the city. You in that kind of rare scenario would get 3 points. So it's kind of important that the fairy stay connected to a specific color meeple, which really makes it feel like the fairy should be a piece that really does stand right next to or bounce on top or somehow snap into the other meeples. Here is a volcano tile. While this tile appears, the dragon will move onto it. This will become the starting tile for the dragon to start moving. You place this tile normally, but you cannot place a meeple on it. What's funny is there's an animation here that makes it feel like there's 2 versions of this tile, but I'm not sure there really is. I would think that there really is only 1 variation of that tile. You use this opportunity to move the fairy back to your meeple, which I only have 1. And theoretically, the dragon would fly here And that is a very big piece. Now that the dragon has appeared, it's only a matter of time before it starts roaming the land, eating meeples. What dictates its movement is the question. Oh yeah, when we place a tile, that's what dictates its movement. I kind of thought they were going to have a dice to move it around, so it would be a random movement. That's definitely how I would do it, but there probably was a real effort and desire to not introduce dice into Carcassonne, which is a tile-only game, tile and meeple pieces. This tile bears the dragon movement icon. Once the turn ends, the dragon will start moving around the board, eating any meeple it encounters. Right, so we do this, and then let's put the fairy to protect your meeple. Again, you can pretty well tell already that you're going to spend a lot of time just moving the fairy back and forth, back and forth. It's going to be fairly annoying as a concept. Feels like there should have been a better way for that to work. Particularly when you start to play with 6 players. That's going to give you even less protection with more players. The fairy will now protect this tile from dragons, since the dragon cannot move on the same tile as the fairy. Any meeple that's on this tile is protected from the dragon. So now we have the dragon move start. And so it's a whole separate gameplay mechanic in the middle, much like the river is its whole separate starting experience of playing tiles and setting up a starting board. Although, in the case of the river, you're still kind of doing the same thing as the normal gameplay. This is very different. As the active player, you can start the dragon's movement. The dragon can move to any adjacent tile it did not visit during the dragon movement, which is going to mean here although it seems like it can't move diagonally, so it seems like it is just going to be north, south, east, west, as it were. There's only one spot for your dragon to move, so let's move there and eat your opponent's meeple. Which does go back into the inventory. When a dragon eats a meeple, the meeple is sent directly to its owner's tray. Which is... it would be a way to speed up the game, certainly, if you ate the meeple and it was just gone forever. And because the game could end fairly quickly then. You can use the dragon to remove undesirable meeples from features you wish to claim or take back. Lost meeples. Lost meeples in the sense that they're just stuck somewhere you're never going to be able to reclaim. So he can only really go there. And oddly, I think this means that you'd always move 6 turns even if there's only 2 players. Which, okay. That means we'll go back and forth. As you can see, the tile with the fairy is protected from the dragon. Your opponent is forced to move the dragon onto its own meeple. Then, I'd assume you would logically go to the one on the right, not the one on the left. Because there's 2 shield crests, which would get you more value on the left. And you have to play, and you can't cut back, which really means playing this early could be a majorly devastating experience. The dragon can move up to 6 tiles, so this is the last turn of movement, but keep in mind that the dragon's movement can be interrupted if it cannot move, but it seems to be the only way it can be interrupted. So there might be a strategy to paint something in a corner so it can't move. If you had, for instance, gone up here and sacrificed your own thing and then forced me to go over here if there wasn't a tile there, and then gone down here, you would have ended the movement. Once the dragon's movement is finished, the game resumes where it left off. Which might be a little hard to remember whose turn it was when all was said and done. I see you've drawn the princess tile. This tile is placed normally with the additional power. Instead of placing a meeple on the tile, you can remove a meeple from the city bearing the princess icon. Let's place the tile here. And now instead of placing a meeple, let's remove your opponent's meeple by using the princess power, which is just to click on it. I feel like there definitely should be some confirmation messages when you pick up the abbot or when you pick up an opponent's tile. It's too easy to accidentally click on something and not really mean it, or just want to zoom in and look at it. The city is now unclaimed and up for grabs. Let's hope your opponent doesn't get a city tile. He's over here focusing on a monastery. Here is a magical portal. You place this tile like you would any other, but meeple placement is special. So the magical portal part is not just this, it seems, but also that you have a lot of green square trees. I would assume that's what that is, and this looks like a wagon cart with some farm. You can place your meeple on any tile, or you can place on this tile, or you can place a meeple on any unclaimed or unfinished feature on the board. Use this opportunity to seize the high value and easily closable features. So I put this here, and not only will it get me this reward back. Now let's grab the city by using the portal to place a meeple here. This not only is going to give me this road, but it's going to put me in the city, and it also potentially is going to have us be able to use the ferry some more, because it feels like you should use the ferry. Now, so far, every time they've said that's the end of the tutorial, just try and win, that's not really been the case. What was that? Was this another volcano tile? I guess it had to have been. For that guy to move. So there's multiple volcano tiles. Alright. So feels like you probably wouldn't want to play off the volcano tiles too much, although they're relatively safe after the fact if the dragons moved on. It is also a monastery-like piece that would connect to a field. So if we were going to go for something crazy, we might go for a field. Darn it. This is better. Do this. And then I just don't know if it's particular. I mean, get the 3 points, I guess, is what you do. Just do this and this. And then you have this like unique protection, and you get 3 points. I don't think you get anything extra. Why did that not finish as a city? That doesn't make sense. This is a completely finished city. Unless this tiny little corner here is supposed to connect to something, which no, that doesn't make sense. I feel like the game is oddly kind of glitched out here. Because of the whole dragon turn? Whereas it feels like that should have scored first. Alright, well. Since there's nothing else on the field, it's probably just fine to do this. And paint it back into a corner so it can't play anymore. And cancel its turns out. We see a little animation there. And at this point you get to score. Which that just seems like a weird timing effect. Why does this not work? Because of the curved road, I guess. Let's see. I think what I would like to do is move this here as such. And go ahead. We can claim basically anything here. So what would we want to claim? A monastery? Not a bad move. Not a bad move at all. Wait a minute, though. What if we were to do this and then claim the monastery? Won't work. Darn. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna claim the monastery. I'm gonna hope nobody plays a dragon movement tile before I can put a tile to connect. Okay. I'm gonna put this here. I'm going to put a meeple in the field so we have the vast majority of the field claimed. Okay. I'm going to move the dragon, hopefully away from where he wants to go, making it impossible for him to hit my guy. And it kind of doesn't matter, I can just move him anywhere for that final step. And move him further away from both of my guys. Oddly, can only place this here. And then we have a magic portal, which could let me grab this, or try and grab this road. I think I'll grab this, unless there's some protection I want to do. I do see how the fairy if it causes you to have to get rid of a specific turn, and so you might be better off not wasting your turn that way. And with this tutorial, I've completely overpowered and won. Doing much better on roads and monasteries and cities and with the ferry and with the fields. We came out even on the field. Alright, so let's play a real game now. Turn off everything else. And we'll do exclusive Princess and Dragon. And then we'll play another game with everything on. Which this will be clearly the craziest game when we have everything on that can be on. And fields and dead zones. And what is the other one here? Remaining tile list. Dead tiles, playing with fields. All of that. I think you pretty much would always want all of this on. I could see if you're playing with kids and you were trying to simplify it even more, you would not play with fields. Fields generally don't win a game or lose a game for people anyways. And we're starting with 102 tiles just with this expansion. Alright. We will start by making a city. Of course, you now, with 6 players, have a much more busy battlefield happening. It's not going to just be an easy, I know my one enemy and I can focus on that one enemy. Think this makes the most sense. This may be getting close to being a dead tile. It's going to be very hard to put something here, and if you can put something here, you might very well end up making a spot where you could put an abbey alone very nicely. I'm playing as blue, so it would not be terrible, I think, to start here and then go ahead and put a ferry here, and that's going to bring the dragon, and each player is going to have an opportunity to send the dragon towards somebody else's meeple, and they're more than likely going to take that opportunity. Yeah, I'm really shocked you wouldn't have put that here. Maybe that would have made a dead tile. Yeah, and I suppose with the dragon now you start to want to play closer to the edges, further away from the dragon, because this could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and still get me. That's the dragon moving. So my only hope is that it becomes my turn and I can send it from like this tile away from me. Like I really have no choice but to go this way. I wouldn't eat my own guy. So now it's going to be, does somebody want to take the monastery road? Or do they want to take mine? And they took mine. Which at a certain point that might even be a bit of a blessing, because this was going to be a tough tile to close anyways. Okay. Yeah. Close for victory here. Close for nothing for me there. Close for nothing for me there. Put one here to try and claim ownership of that location. No, I think you take the points now. And since we've got nothing else to do, we should protect our guy. And notice it zooms in at that point, which my complaint for this game up until this point has always been, why is this always zooming back out? Or why isn't it zooming in and zooming out? Right, so the dragon can't reach any of these people. I've protected my guy, which means he can't move that direction. I could go this way, and then they could choose to go that way and that way. And then if they went here, that would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe they would get me at that point. But I guess that is your best bet. And since we kind of know the order, I bet this guy is going to go down here because he's not going to eat his own guy. Which means this guy is going to go here because he has no choice. Which means this guy will probably eat this guy. And then, yeah, I don't see any reason why yellow wouldn't have gone for this. It probably should have opted to protect this guy. If that's the end of the dragon movement, then basically nobody claimed that city. So I guess that's technically no harm, no foul, but sure doesn't really feel like that. I don't think the magic portal allows you. Interesting. I got 1 point because it started with the fairy. Yeah. I don't think the portal's going to let me teleport back into that. So I'm going to do this. Take this. Place that there. I guess if we play a portal, we'll see if we can move the portal. See if we can move the portal onto the monastery. We'll use the portal to put a meeple on the monastery. It's funny, this tile looks so different in color than that tile. I guess that makes it easy to tell the difference. Right, well, as it is, guess you put it here. And then I guess you put one here. Because I have really nothing else to fear. I could move this back to that. But whatever. Just leave it. And so unless everybody just works together to move towards my piece, I think they're going this way. So yeah, it is irritating that they did late in the expansions here recognize that there's a need to zoom in, and then they didn't take what they learned while programming the digital version of this game to apply that to earlier parts of their code, which ideally that's how everything would work when programming a game, is that you would, as you're iterating, as you're working to make the last level, you come up with some great ideas and optimizations and better gameplay mechanics, and all of those then get retroactively added back into level 1 so that there isn't a obvious inconsistency. That's gonna be a little dangerous to move the dragon way over there. We are approaching the halfway point of the game, which honestly, with this many cards, if you start with over 100 cards, it would be very easy for me to say, as a game director, to say, hey, let's put in a little fireworks, a little mid-game break that tells people who's in what spot and that you're halfway through. Alright, so we're gonna move the dragon. And we don't want the dragon near us. So I think your best bet is to do something like this. And there's a little church here, which I guess that's a monastery. So before I put that down, if there's a monastery, is there a more encircled way this piece would play? Do that, and that's probably better. Yeah, do that. We'll put one there. Now the dragon moves. Hopefully it doesn't move in such a way that kills me. The dragon does not go through the magic portal. Don't see how they aren't gonna want to go this way, though. So there goes my farmer guy. And that loses this entire farm, which means I really want to get that farm back. Because, nope, someone else immediately claims it. The dragon's moving again. In a funny way, it's the dragon is basically eating all the meeple anyway, so this is a fairly low scoring game, and I guess maybe that's part of the strategy here, is that the dragon will remove a lot of opportunities for scoring potentially and keep the game tighter, because some of the other expansions were definitely going in the opposite direction, where there was a lot of high scoring elements with no real chance of low scoring. I have no idea where the dragon's really even going. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. You're not going to hit this, you're not going to hit that. Best bet is to actually just put the dragon here and keep it in the corner, so it can't move any further. Which clearly there is some strategy to that. Okay. We really want this to end. Is there a way to score here? We can score here. Yeah. Or where else? We could score way over here, or we could score over here. Yeah. So I think we do this and take the score by putting meeple there. At least I got an achievement done. Shields up. Which that's probably just I got 20 houses with, or 20 cities with shields in it completed. Something like that. Okay. It's dragon move time again. Personally, I want to move all the way down that direction, but I don't think that's the way people are going to go. I think we're going to go this way, then up here, then over here, and over here, just to spitefully kill people's meeples. It kind of feels like there's a little bit more dragon movement tiles than you would want, and not enough magic portal tiles. But that could just be the random shuffling of the tile sets that we're playing right now. This is not a dead tile, but this is clearly going to be a difficult tile to do. Is there a better place to play this tile than I have right now? I'd say definitely not. Best place is here. And then, yeah, do I have anything I can place the fairy on for protection? Otherwise, no. So that protects me, and my hope is that we can get the dragon to move fairly far, but I doubt we can even move that far. So more than likely the odds would have been to just get it to move by placing volcano piece. Must be pretty scary to potentially place a tile right next to the dragon. Oh yeah, definitely eat that. Another achievement done, dragon food. Everybody seems to be mostly on board with keeping the dragon far away from the middle of the table. Interesting. I just scored a point and then the camera moved over. Okay. So at this level, I've something I probably want to end and snap something to, like here. But then putting it right there to score on that is not my desire. Like, as silly as it might seem, I want to put it probably here. Or here. There might be something to that. Or here on a monastery. Or here on this monastery. Is that the best option? Or here on this monastery, which would be way close to the dragon. It does kind of create a situation where there's a lot of different options and it can become overwhelming. We have 38 cards. There's a decent chance that with 38 cards I won't be able to finish out the monastery. I'm oddly in second place as far as scores go right now, but I do feel like this field is going to change things. Okay. If I was to play this, can I remove anything? Like if I played this here, I could remove that guy instead of placing something. If I place this here, can I remove a character because of being protected by a fairy? Now that would only work that way. That would potentially work this way. Well, I guess that would work. Let's see. See if that lets me Move. Let me remove that, but not this because that one was on a on the road. I see that now. So nobody has claim to this whole giant area. Could the dragon now, if he moved, make it down this direction? That would be the question. Is there a better location potentially to play this? This would be if I connect it, but obviously don't finish that city, I could at least fight for claim ownership of all these tiles. Question will come down to now, is there a long line here that I'd like to build? So put that on the field and see if maybe we can connect things. Yeah. So we'll just be a race to see if we can get the dragon down to where I want it to be without it also killing the things I don't want it to kill. $21 more tiles remaining. I could definitely see about half as many dragon movement tiles making sense. It is a little excessive how often the dragon moves. Double monasteries. Okay. Do we want a city that's complete? Do we want to try and cap off the insanity that is over here? That makes a dead tile, dead tile, dead tile, no matter what I do there. Just take that. Probably makes a dead tile here. Yeah, there's a real question as to just how many points you're really going to end up getting with an unfinished city like this. Where's a dragon? Right. I'm just going to protect myself and make it so the dragon can't move any further. Alright, and we have a monastery piece. Which we could stick here. If we did, that makes that a dead tile. But it does connect nothing as far as fields. Or you could stick it here, which kind of connects nothing. We could put it here. Well, we get the highest score because that's, I think, all that really matters. Probably just putting it by this flat 3. That probably is your best bet. Yep. We'll stick it up here. And we might as well put a meeple here. Now, although it might be better to just move the fairy. Dragon moved. Oh, hey, if we can get a dragon movement tile here and kill that, that would be great. I'd get rid of this major field in the middle, leaving it fairly open. Oddly, this is not a dead tile. So do I want a long road, which seems like it just kind of ends here? Is there some long road worth trying to score on? And you could get like 3 here doing that. Or you could get 1 doing that, so. Here's the thing though. Dragon is here. Let's protect something. I haven't really been using the fairy to its best as far as scoring extra on the fairy. Yeah, and I guess I moved the fairy for no reward in that case, and actually relatively little protection. Instead, I could have placed a meeple on the road. So I can protect myself from the monastery and move this guy downward. And hopefully that means somebody will take out the field guy. But nope, he goes the other way. And takes out that guy. And one final tile is played. So we were at 23. So we're actually in first place. Luckily to start with, it'll just be a matter of how lucky do we get with the scoring to maintain that first place, because I don't think I have the best scoring going on here. Unless these 3 monasteries manage to give me a significant lead and hold on to that lead for a while. Nope, you got they got a major bump of 23 points for that giant unfinished city. That was much more of a bump than I kind of was hoping it would be. Then he got 21 for that big field, which is a pretty big bump. There is something to complain about, certainly, in the way this game plays. It does kind of have that Mario Party aspect where you spend a lot of time playing a Mario Party game, and then at the end it may just be a random scoring event, that random thing that makes the winner be the winner, instead of somebody playing very well strategically throughout the entire game and knowing that they're ahead and knowing that they're going to win. This is much more random. Like chess is a prime example of an all strategy game where there are no random events. It would be very silly if at the end of a chess game bonus points were then handed out to one player because of something outside of the player's control or only partially in the player's control. So you can see for roads I got 0 points. For monasteries I got 18, which still had me scoring less than AI focused 6. For cities we got 23, but clearly the person who got 43 had a pretty big difference there. If that person had not gotten 43 and had lost, say, 20 points, and I had gained 20 points by owning that big unfinished city, I would have won. For ferry, I did pretty poorly, but nobody did particularly well with the ferry, and I think that probably highlights that the odds are low that the ferry is going to be a high scorer when you play with 6 players. And for fields, I got 3 if I had managed to get rid of this person so he wouldn't have gotten 20 and then taken over the field. I again would have probably won. Of course, you can always say that about pretty much anything. My ranking is still at 1500 because I haven't played any online stuff. This is all online stuff, and this might be actually a profile that is just for Asmodee Digital in general, so playing Carcassonne may raise your ranking in other games too. And then these stats they tell you are interesting, but nothing particularly special. So Metropolis complete a city that of at least 10 tiles. So I don't think any of those were the new achievements. Complete a city with a coat of arms 5 times. That was an achievement we unlocked. Eat 5 meeples while you're moving the dragon. That's one we got also. Other achievements we could have gotten for this expansion would have been feed 3 meeples of your meeples to the dragon. Move the fairy 5 times. We've done that 3 times. Earn 5 points from the fairy who is starting the round next to your meeple. So we've done that 3 times. Earn 1 point 5 times is what it really means. Earn 9 points from a fairy being inside a city when it gets closed. We've done that 0 times. Again, that'd be earn 3 points 3 times, I think. Teleport 3 meeples using the magic portal. We've done that once. Remove 5 enemy meeples from cities using the princess. We've done that once. Remove 3 friendly meeples from cities using the princess. We've not done that at all. Friendly being our meeples, because there's no team play. You could potentially play Carcassonne with teams, certainly, but you'd have to kind of think the rules through and make it up yourself. Close the city and gain dominance by removing an opponent's meeple using the princess. Okay, so little in-game achievements. So now it's going to get really crazy, and I wouldn't expect less than 136 starting tiles with everything enabled. And this would be, I guess officially, on the digital version of the game, the craziest way to play Carcassonne. 155 tiles to start with. So we do the whole river thing. And it doesn't matter which way it goes, but for visuals. Ooh, and I don't even remember, like, what the deal with the visuals are. Like, it seems like the first thing you'd want to do is climb the field, particularly if it's your first turn. Yeah. Then what I'd want to do is we've got to still play this. I guess this, and then so we could do pig. We could do the abbot. Oh, I didn't place it. Darn it! I just clicked the OK button. Well, that was a mistake. Maybe it won't be as big a mistake as it seems like. And even immediately here with the river, you've taken up a very long stretch. It feels like it'd be nice if you could just rotate the screen and square off these tiles in more of a grid-like way like this. And I guess you could do that, but it only helps a little. Because then you have a complete top-down perspective versus an isometric perspective, and the isometric angle perspective is really what you want, but it's not always what you get. Pig. Just gonna double down on this concept. I kind of had forgotten about the dragon too. Dragon is way over on the other side, however, so might be some level of safety not playing, say, the abbot. This makes the most sense. And this really is just insanity. There's far too many pieces, far too many different ways to score. It is way complicated. And it certainly goes to show why they would have gone in that next direction and have introduced the next expansion as being a winter expansion that is a completely disconnected experience that just starts all over again. Okay. If I play that, does that do anything? If I play this, does that potentially do anything? Is there any protection I feel like I need to play? No, I don't think so. So. If these expansions had all been thought through and they had them ready to go on day one, then there would have probably been, it would have probably just been an initially more complicated game with more synergy from expansion to expansion. Instead of different expansions that work alright but aren't particularly great at being what people would want or being synergistic with other expansions. Unlike something like a collectible card game like Magic the Gathering, which cycles out previous expansions to the point where, at least in official tournament play, you can't play the really, really old expansions, and you can only play the most recent 4 to 6 expansions in Magic. Usually it's about 4. This, if there were Carcassonne tournaments, that there very possibly could be a tournament that involved all the expansions, and if they continued down the path of making expansions, that would be even more levels of insanity. Okay. This guy, if I was to place here, would end that. If I was to place here, would touch that still. So I think that works fairly well. Place that like that. And I guess the question is, are they gonna go chase after mine? I feel like the answer is yes, they are going to chase after mine. Well, I don't know where they thought they were going with that, because I'm definitely going to move the dragon away from my guys. And I am going to try to play some protection. Let's see if this one moves up. Well, I'm just going to keep protecting my guys. And see, in that round of turns, I think the dragon had moved twice, so I really didn't have a good opportunity to play the fairy. So the fairy's not as balanced as it might be, or you might want it to be. Okay. Great. Put the abbot on that. We're putting a lot of gaps, a lot of empty squares in the middle compared to most of the other games we've played. Alright, so now the cathedral won't even play unless it's closed. So I don't know if there's a real value in doing any of that. Seems like it would be insanity to play this. So let's do it. Protect our pig. And just hope that the dragon does not get a movement tile. And if he does get a movement tile, I can control him and send him downward. Okay. We could connect this longer. And that's probably the right move. Yeah, I don't think there is any other move there. And then, let's see. The builder gives you the double moves. Oh, I had forgotten about that. Okay. So I should have been using the builder this whole time. Dragon is moved, but not very far. And see, only I would get double moves if somebody by playing on the road. Oddly, this is not a dead tile. Feels like it should be. Right. So the choice here is to do this. To get a double move. And then to, once again, try and protect this guy. Then that gives me a double turn. Which then... Ooh, it would be so nice to put it here and have the dragons go that way. This is 3 here. But, and nice and safe. This... Oh no, you want to put it here. No, because then that connects that. You'd want to put it something closer to like here. And see if you can grab that field. Yeah. Put one here. And put a double field there. Dragon move start. So I'm hoping I can just get control before I lose the pig. Well, you know what? We'll just take our own guy since we have no other choice anyways. And you could kind of look at the score right now and try and figure out what else to go for, but if anything, you're probably helping the black player by giving him back his double meeple. We have 90 cards still left to play, which certainly could explain why there aren't so many dead tiles yet. Alright. Could try and close off a city. Could try and close off this, which nobody even owns that. But when score, it would make more sense. Close off this, or close off this. Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Or close off this, which actually that is the perfect move, and we had set up for that move. That, and then go ahead and put that there. So we are just killing it with the farms. We may even, if we lose our pig, be able to claim the pig back and use it over here. So it's almost as if the river is specifically designed, and it very possibly is specifically designed to water, for lack of a better term, the farms and grow them. We'll go with the monastery concept. Put a meeple there. The abbot. We would need to teleport the abbot somewhere. And it might be very easy actually to teleport the abbot somewhere if we get a magic portal. don't understand how he would have been able to play this and put a piece there. Maybe he put a builder there. Yeah, he did. Builders don't count in disputes. But once again, that highlights how the builder visually does not stand out. Okay. This guy put a double thing here and stole my farmland. That's annoying. Let's see, is there a better place to put this? However, no, I think you pick this, you do this, take this, put it there. I think that's your best move. Now he's protecting this guy because he really wants that farmland. Yeah, these games are getting fairly long now. It's been an hour and 30 minutes and it's getting fairly silly in that there's not too much to say. Okay, there'll be 3 turns left, so if I go 1, 2, 3, it's gonna put it right next to my guy. Whereas if I go 1, 2, 3, it's not gonna get it. I don't really have a choice anyways. My only hope is they go 1, 2, 3 and decide to somehow go south, and or they decide to go this direction. Yeah. Somebody got a full abbot built. What can we do? Can't close this, which we're still trying to do. We can't add dirt to add yet another person to try and take it over. This would have to play that way, which means that wouldn't work. Not a large advantage for playing there, not a large advantage for playing anywhere over here. So I think your best bet is to just do that. And that'll give us an opportunity to protect our pig. Or protect our meeple. We still have 67 cards or tiles to play. I think it is worth pointing out that board games, particularly for me, and I think for just most of the Nintendo generation, video game generation. They're too long. They're not interactive enough to keep people's attention. So, if I was in the real world playing this game, and it had been over an hour of playing such a game that is fairly simplistic like this, I would at least have the beginnings of being fairly irritated by it. Could get a double turn, which I guess with each double turn there is that possibility of something more. Yeah, I say play a double turn. Do this, then move this. Let's see. This would be a dragon move, which would mean I would also get to choose the direction the dragon moves, which that's helpful also. So then it really just becomes a question of, is there anything else we can really score on, or should we just go for the monastery? That doesn't close that. That does close that, but there's no value in closing that. That potentially closes that. And maybe makes a move. Let's do this. Here, here. Alright. And since I started that, if I move this way, at worst case scenario, the players will go this way, and then they'll have to start deciding whether they want to attack all my guys or whether they want to attack these guys. If I were to move this way, then it would kind of lock everybody out from everything. They'd have to go all the way around just to get this one pig, or they'd have to come back around to do that. So actually I think this is the move. You go this way. Now they're either going to have to be very vindictive and wrap around, or they're going to walk this way and take out the pinks and yellows and then not have enough moves to take out any blues. And ideally what we would see is the dragon would just get teleported away from this whole region, because this region is all my domain. Let's see, this ends. So I just need another end cap on that road. Maybe I could even put the builder down somewhere to get some more double moves. You definitely have room to fear the dragon, though. Then I need to remember my attempt over here to try and regain the field once again. At this rate, I may be doomed. I think you just hope people care more about getting the pinks than this. And sacrifice your own guy. Just hope that the other players decide to go that way instead of taking out my builder. Which, I guess, I automatically took out the builder anyways. So, I actually returned 2 pieces for 1. Well, that's annoying, but maybe not terrible. Alright. That would tie us again with that and let me put the pig down. Is there a better location where I could use that? I think the answer is probably no. Like I could make a city over here and put the pig down. Yeah. I take that. I guess the pig is already down. Then I can't do anything. This can do something. So I can't do anything. Alright. That ties, and if we can ever get rid of this guy, then we would win. The dragon's a little far from there. But we do have 52 more tiles. We are only about halfway through this game. And at a certain level, this is as far as I can zoom out. So you're talking maybe 12 or 13 by 13 before you're going to have to do some major panning. Okay. What do we want? Is this a double or is that just a single pip? Yeah, it doesn't matter. If I did that, that would be fairly difficult to end. If I did that, that would be kind of easy to end. If I did that, that would be more towards the monastery. If we could get back into using the monastery. It'd also kind of be a suicide mission. Like, this entire top wall is pretty useless. I'm gonna do this since I don't have much else to do. I guess I could have moved the ferry around. There's just so many tiles. Really, just an insane number of tiles that exist here. If I close this off, I'd get resources, but that wouldn't actually close that off. If I put that there, I would get resources. This potentially closes off something a lot crazier way than you would think. Do I want a few road bonuses? Or I could say close this off over here. Actually, that's probably your better move. Yeah. Do that. Put a piece here. And in the turn. There clearly are some tiles, though, that have only like one copy, one version of them. And so once that one type of card has been played, or one type of tile has been played, you have a dead tile. Although it would kind of make more sense if there was always 4 copies of, say, this kind of tile, this kind of tile, and this kind of tile, and there weren't weird special variants. I'm really gonna have to zoom in here. This would be great. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to play that. And then here's the question. Do you get more points for this or this? I think you get more points for this. 6 versus what it probably would have been 6 also. Yeah, this guy has 55 right now, though, and this guy has 46, so we've had some high scores, and I don't know how you turn that around. Okay. Move the dragon. Potentially way over here. Or way over here. Or way over here. This is a dead thing, so it wouldn't be a terrible thought to do it there. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is just kind of the perfect place. Ooh, but I can't put anything down, can I? So all I could do is protect my guys. Which, if I'm gonna protect my guys, I could put it over here, but then the dragon couldn't get the rest of these guys, and I don't care about protecting that character. So I would just protect like that. Yeah. Protect my ownership of the field. Wow, we are going an hour and 15 minutes. We have 29 more tiles to play. How long it takes some of these players to think seems to be kind of random. Also, it's not too long and it's not too short, but I could see people wanting to speed things up, and I think there actually was an option around that. But I guess it's something you have to set when you're outside of a game, as far as speeding up how long it takes the AI to think. It almost certainly doesn't really take the AI this long to think, and they've programmed it in a delay to just make it feel like the computers are thinking at the same speed and same level as a human. But yeah, that's a lot. Maybe it really is thinking that much. Maybe it's poorly programmed AI. And I would call it actual AI as much as anything is actual AI. I think there's going to be a split that's going to need to happen between calling something artificial intelligence and calling something human like artificial intelligence, in the sense that humans think pretty fast and pretty well, relatively speaking, whereas the artificial intelligence in most games are running through all possible moves, or a list of possible moves, and considering the percentage chances, but the number of possible moves it's considering is probably less than what a human could think of subconsciously. Alright, well, this would be 6 if I did this here. This would be a decent amount if I did this here. Do I want to do anything else? Anywhere else would be the question. Because I could squeeze it in here and get him some points if I did that. Ooh, and that would be a mistake. Ooh, that would be a big mistake. Notice how the entire field just changed. Alright, well, we will put one here, and I think risk it. Just 23 more tiles, so the dragon may move, but there is a possibility the dragon won't move. We still own the farmland, or are splitting the farmland. Okay, go that way, yes. Go up, yes. Get this guy out, and then I own the farmland. Go up. Go up. Go that way. Then it's my turn. Take him out. All blue. I wouldn't be upset if we took this one out on this monastery also. And the pig is on everything, so major farmland bonus potentially. There's one non-dead piece here. Which means theoretically you could close off this. I don't know if anybody has gotten any resources at all as far as the that expansion. Yeah, it seems like the answer to that is no, they haven't. Okay. You wouldn't want to play that and move the dragon. You wouldn't want to do that and just get 3, I think. That's not a bad connection. That is probably your best bet, is to do that. Or you could do that, which I don't think maybe finishes the abbot over here. Yeah, I think that's the move. Do I need to protect anything where the dragon is? I don't think so. You'd have to come way back here otherwise. So I think that is the exact move. And we're gonna get to move the dragon in our direction, so let's see. I think you go for this monastery, and by going up here, then you hope the other players go this way and this way, and then up to that. But this does put the dragon in a dangerous spot, certainly. Yeah, because he could come over here and kill my double strength build claimer if he moves again, and that would suck. But we have 16 tiles, so there's also a possibility that no more of them are dragon things. And I guess you could scroll through all of this fairly slowly, or drag and drop fairly quickly to see. There's 1, 2 more dragon movement tiles, it seems. It felt like the game was playing while I was looking at the screen there. Still. Yeah. We own everything. If I did this, and then this, and then put an abbot here, that saves me a meeple, I guess. That might be the only thing that is kind of special about the abbot. There might have been some other scoring rules or something around the abbot, but it really does feel like it is just an extra piece, so you can place 1 more meeple, and being able to place 1 more meeple does kind of make sense. Right. Don't go after my guys, please. Go south. Oh, lucky. Super, super lucky. So now the hope is this draws down in this direction as far as where to go, keeping it away from here and here. Yeah, this is pretty much the only way I'm going to win is with the farmland. Otherwise, the head starts of scoring of these two characters, and even this character, is probably going to overwhelm any other scoring I get. Dragon move start. Well, I'll put it downward so they can take out whoever they want to take out. Seven more tiles. And as more of these meeple are removed, that reduces the amount of scoring. But this is probably going to be about 12 minutes of scoring at the end anyways. Okay. Last chances. Place this for a monastery. Or place this for the monastery. Just either one of those is probably fine. If I placed one here, I couldn't grab this farmland. Not that it matters. If I placed one here, that really wouldn't do anything. That wouldn't do anything. That wouldn't do anything. That wouldn't do anything. Yeah. So, best bet scenario, I think, is to probably just place it there. That's where the abbot is anyways. And maybe place some protection on, I guess the abbot would be fine. I don't think it really is going to matter. It would be a shock if this building had been completely finished. It wasn't finished, so no resources, but this person is going to get a fairly large reward from that. Unless there was a cathedral in there, which I don't believe there is. Oh wow, I could have potentially fought for ownership of that field. I don't think it matters too much though. So I'm at 25, which is second to last. Let's see how the scoring goes. Because I still have a decent suspicion I may have won here with the farm. But maybe not. I may have just put so many meeple, because I did put a ton of meeple to win that farmland. Yeah, we'll just see if the monasteries can win for us. Nope. We're still in second place. Gardens. I guess maybe I should have been putting the abbots on gardens, and I've just never figured out that concept. Yeah, that probably would make more sense. Because abbots can be played on gardens, whereas any meeple can be put on monasteries. This is definitely going to be a high scorer again. Your score clearly goes up very high. 99, jump there. Jump to second place. But there would have to be something else. Otherwise, we're just getting second place. Yep. I would have won if I'd gotten a little bit luckier or just scored a little bit more while playing. Or if I'd even collected a single good, I would have won. Nobody collected any goods at all. It was kind of a weird game. So, yeah. Had I made, say, 7 road more points, or had he made a few fewer points, that would have won for me. Apparently I did get 9 points for gardens at some point. I don't know how I really did that. Had I succeeded in another monastery, that would have also, I think, given me some more points. That maybe a couple more. Had I made a couple more cities, or gotten any goods, or even scored off the ferry, we had a massive 52 bonus for the field, which had that been split between me and this player, it wouldn't have been a problem. So had I not paid so much attention to them trying to conquer the field, I could have, yeah, and you can't even see it now, I could have fairly easily just shared with him and played some other moves. But yeah, suffice it to say, that is wild. And I don't believe we accomplished any achievement at all on any of those. But almost certainly we did make more progress towards accomplishing all this. I think I could suspect I would get most of these achievements, in-game achievements, done in 3 or 4 more games, with the exception of having to win 60 public matches online. There is a huge disconnect there. That is a really, really lot of games to play in general. More games of Carcassonne than I probably would ever actually want to play. Because we've had 14 matches so far. Some of them have been really long, and this one in particular has been the longest. And I'm approaching my fill. We'll do the winter expansion, and then we'll do the gingerbread expansion, and that may very well just be one episode, and then that'll probably be my fill of playing Carcassonne for a very long time, 5-10 years, even maybe the rest of my life even. Anyways, as for each of these expansions, the abbot particularly doesn't feel like it does too much different, other than letting the abbot use gardens, which I had forgotten about. And the river just adds more to the setup of the game. Inns and cathedrals I had kind of forgotten even existed. So like, we used the double meeple in inns and cathedrals. I had completely forgotten about the inn tiles though. And I remembered the cathedral part. Traders and builders, when we just played that last game, it took me half the game to remember about builders, and I did remember the pigs, but we didn't actually gather any resources as far as the traders. And then Princess and Dragon, which was the newest expansion we just played, was still fairly fresh in my mind, but I could easily see myself forgetting some elements. We also didn't really get to play any tiles on the 6-player tile deck with the princesses or the magic portals. Those tiles, I assume, were there. It's just that the other players got them instead of me, which is a little disappointing. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.